Good evening, everyone. Welcome to our information session here about the UOnline Masters in Finance degree. I know Zoom sometimes takes a little bit to let everybody trickle in, so we will give it just a few more seconds. Sometimes Zoom likes to update last minute, all those fun things. So we'll get started here in just a few more moments. And while we have everybody trickling in, I just want to introduce myself. My name is Allison Verheyen. I'm one of the student advocates here at UOnline. So I have the great pleasure of working with new students as they begin the program throughout their first year, specifically with finance students. So very excited to have all of you here this evening to learn a little bit more about our finance degree. So hopefully you have come with questions. We have some incredible panelists here ready for you. So we are so excited to have you joining us this evening. We have a few housekeeping notes just to make mention before we dive right in. We know that your time is incredibly valuable, so we like to keep these to about 45 minutes. So that's what you can expect this evening. So just sort of we'll be mindful of that. Likewise, if you need to leave a little bit early and you aren't able to join us for the full time, that is okay. This is being recorded and we will have this emailed out to you just as soon as the session concludes. Or perhaps maybe you just want to re-listen to all of it because it's going to be great. So you will have that in your inbox shortly after the session is over. Additionally, we have an incredible enrollment staff. So if you have any questions, specifically as they're related to the application process, financial aid, scholarships, all that good stuff, please don't be a stranger. You are welcome to reach out to any member of our enrollment team. You're able to give us a call. We also have a live chat feature off of our website. So we would love to chat with you. So any type of question that you have as it relates to applying, scholarships, financial aid, what have you, our enrollment team would love to connect with you and go through all of that as it relates to your specific situation. So we'll just be mindful of that. That being said, we also want to make sure that this is everything that you need it to be. So if you have specific questions, please feel free to use our chat feature. We will be monitoring that throughout this session. So anything that you are curious about, or if we are talking about a topic and it raises some other questions that you might have, feel free to reach out and we might be able to address it here live. We might be chatting you back, but that's going to be the best way to get those questions answered that you have. All of that being said, I guess we can go ahead and dive right in. We've got an awesome panel tonight, as well as a wonderful sort of special guest. So I will let our panelists introduce themselves, Indra and Mark, and then we also have our program director, Layla, and she will be giving a brief presentation at the end with a little bit more specifics about how our finance program is structured. So we will touch on that once we kind of get through our Q&A, but I will turn it over. Indra, if you maybe want to introduce yourself first, and then Mark will kind of transition over to you.
Thank you, Alison. Hi, everyone. My name is Indranil Chakravarti. I recently started as a chair of the finance department. I'm an associate professor of finance here. I have been here since 2015. I have a PhD in finance from Wharton, and I worked in a couple of years for Citadel Investments and Citibank. And I have personally worked with many of the students, and I have designed a couple of the classes. So I look forward to working with you all if you choose to join University of Miami.
And good evening, everyone. My name is Mark Smith. I am a program graduate, class of 21. Spent some time here within the program. So definitely looking forward to speaking with you all, showing and sharing with you what my experience was throughout the process. During the time that I was in the program, I was also working at McKesson Corporation full-time. So I'll be able to speak to how to balance the workload between working full-time and also going through a program full-time like this one.
Awesome. Thank you both so much. So we will start off with some questions. And again, for our visitors, if you guys do have questions as they arise, feel free to chat them in. But to get started, maybe Indra, if you could start off by telling us a little bit about your role within UM and then how you interact specifically with our online masters and finance students.
I would first of all like to introduce Professor Pinto Campillo, who is the MSF director for the online and the in-person program. And as you can see, we have really tried to maintain a parity between the two programs, which is the same people are teaching the same classes in the online and the in-person format. My role at the university is that of a teacher and a researcher. I mostly have been doing that. I just apply what I learn in terms of research. I do a lot of research in banking topics and papers, which my job is to write research papers which go into top journals, but then apply that knowledge that I gather into classrooms, which has been quite a success as well. I would say that in the in-person program, they do this voting of MSF Best Teacher Award. They give one, and I have received it over the last 5 years. So the point I'm trying to make here is that what we teach is popular with students. They love it. And what do we teach? We teach things that are immediately applicable. We are not interested in just teaching things out of the book. We are interested in trying to make sure that kids immediately can apply it, because finance is a professional degree, and we have a strong understanding of that in the program.
Awesome. Thank you for that. And I know, Mark, we had talked a little bit about this prior to our session starting, but we know what we offer is great. But kind of thinking back to when you were a prospective student and looking at all the different programs that were available to you, I know you did a little bit of research on your own. So I'm very curious kind of what stood out to you about the UM Finance degree, and kind of how did you come to this conclusion of that this would be the right fit for you?
Absolutely. So one of the first things that I did was I first went and evaluated what type of program I wanted to go to that would fit my work schedule from a balance standpoint. So really looking at flexibility. I looked at wanting to go to a program that I really valued in the sense of from a traditional standpoint, as well as from an opportunity standpoint to build a very vast connection and build relationships with. And then thirdly, I spent a lot of time really trying to focus on and research the prestige and the magnitude of a program. And the reason why the University of Miami fits so well is because of all three of those things. So at the time, I chose to be a part of the Masters of Science and Finance online program that allowed me to be very flexible in working a full-time role, as well as going to school. So it checked the box for the first one. For the second one, always having a very strong passion with the city of Miami. I'm from actually North Florida here. So always been very passionate about the actual city itself. The University of Miami has always been a family favorite since I was very young. So from a standpoint of building a network with people that I had already prided myself in wanting to be a part of that family was very big. And then lastly, from a prestige standpoint, the University of Miami is well known and well recognized, whether it's actually the U itself, the actual logo, or if it's the actual academic prowess. Whether you go on US News and look at rankings, or if you look at Poets and Quants, if you're familiar with any of those ranking programs, you're going to see the University of Miami somewhere in that top 100, top 50, even sometimes top 20, top 10, depending on what subject area you look at. So based on those three areas, that's really what drove me to looking at this program, and it was the best choice I ever made.
I love that, Mark. Thank you. And we just got a great question that I would love to direct to our panel. So we had someone ask, on the note of immediate application, how interactive are the online classes?
So there are two parts to that question, I would think. One is interaction between faculty and students. And I think on that, I will say that there are we basically make sure that there are videos provided and there is lecture notes, but then there is a bunch of assignments, and there is constant interaction between faculty and students by office hours, by Zoom, or in person. If you want to show up to the university, we welcome you too. I mean, it's not that you're prohibited from coming to campus. In fact, I have had coffee and lunch with many of the online students. That's one part. The other part is within the questions. I mean, what kind of material are we studying? So those topics, all the courses that Professor Pinto will go through, are different facets of uh, skill sets that people need in the industry for a variety of jobs. And it's not like you'll say, well, if I'm doing an investment banking job, it's not like I do not need a little bit of an understanding of trading. You do need that. So it's a matter of which one do you weigh more. But ultimately, you need that complete set of information that we tried. So that information is also extremely practical and interactive in the sense that that is what you need. So I mean, I think of that also a little bit interactive, but maybe you were talking about the first part, but I just want to underscore both the parts. Mark, you want to tell us something about this, maybe? So.
Yeah. Just to add to that as well, from an interaction standpoint, I can kind of break it into two areas. So as Indra was explaining about faculty relationship between the student, first, being able to access a lot of resources through Blackboard and being able to interact with the faculty through that messaging system was very great. Again, the office hours, any opportunity I got to be a part of office hours for every one of the courses, I always took that opportunity. The faculty here are very hands-on. Any questions that you have specifically, they will tailor and make sure that they answer your questions. The more in-depth your questions and the more prepared you are when you come to office hours, the easier it is for that faculty to facilitate and help you with any of those things. Now, the second piece is more so in alignment to the aid and the interaction with student to student. So again, with Blackboard, but also external applications like WhatsApp have allowed you to build a relationship with the other students. So this will allow you to go back and forth if you're ever having questions about the initial stages of the program, just kind of getting a lay of the land, understanding the foundations and the fundamentals. The faculty will definitely be there to really facilitate probably 80% of that. We have a very good advising group as well that kind of aids in some of that technical aspect. And then the students will also supplement and help you in those areas as well.
I love that. We've had a few more questions pop up, and I want to grab this one too, in the sense of how does the question says the university, I would say maybe specifically, Mark, with your experience as a student or certainly as a faculty member, how do we support students to break into the industry? And maybe even add to that, what sort of real world applications are we using within the classroom to help students?
Yeah, I'll go ahead and take this this first one. So for me, this was a transition into a different industry. So I have a undergraduate background in supply chain management, primarily with transportation and logistics. So although it has a analytical component to it, and you do more of project management, case study, consultative kind of work, moving into a space that's related to finance, there is a bit of a transition there. So this program does an excellent job for anybody who comes from a different walk of life, primarily by it being very STEM supportive. It allows for you to do a lot of transferable skill sets. So what I found during the program were case studies really help bridge the gap between the theoretical and the academic aspect, but also the real world components that allow you to apply a lot of the methods that you're learning in the real world. Being a senior financial analyst now, I've been able to take my career to the next level. I've still stayed in that supply chain space, focusing mainly on the distribution side of the world, but then I've been able to connect that managerial and tactical operational aspect of my life and being able to tie that to the financial piece, whether that's looking at profit and loss statements, balance sheets, whether that's being able to speak to executive leadership and learning more about how their visions work and how they're tied to financials, was very key in being a part of this program. A lot of the things that you will go through, you will read, You will learn how to execute, how to calculate, do valuations. All of those things immediately apply when you leave the program. And if you're currently working while you're in the program, you'll be able to apply a lot of these things immediately.
Yeah, I just want to thank you for that, Mark. I just want to add to that it is very helpful to have a strong alumni network that University of Miami has, as Mark was pointing out before. If you are in Florida and probably anywhere in the East Coast, and I think we would like to think nationally, the U. I mean, I was very surprised by that. The whole U sign itself has been taken over by the University of Miami, as if there is no other university in the world. Right? but that tells you the confidence and the footprint that the University of Miami has. And the ability to leverage that alumni network is something that I see a lot going on. All the alumni are very helpful. And of course, we have grad placement office, etc. And, Professor Pinto Campello and I are engaged with the students, making sure we were having multiple chats today itself about how to get everybody placed. And we want to know where people are getting placed. And the part-time program actually has an interesting transition path, because when you're starting the program, you already perhaps, there's a reason why you're in the part-time program, right? Which is that you're probably busy. And if that is the case, probably you have a job and all that, and you're transitioning over time. And I see a lot of students over those few months as they go through the program, transition from one job to the other. We help, but they also are, to be honest, they are also very resourceful in terms of, they were already, after all, they joined the program thinking that they're going to transition within the company across their other companies. And so it's a joint effort, I would say. And but Mark is a successful example of that transition, I would say.
Absolutely. And I'm seeing a few questions come in looking at the specifics of kind of how the program is laid out. And so I want to touch on a few things. I also want to say, though, that Layla's going to kind of dive in a little bit further about the very specific structure of our program here in the next probably 15 minutes or so. But I kind of want to open it up and segue a little bit from one of these questions. They're asking about how many courses do you feel comfortable taking? The program's designed to take 2 each semester. They're done one at a time. We'll kind of get into the details of that in a bit, but sort of piggybacking off of that, Mark, I'm actually really curious, having, your experience, you're working, you're trying to take classes, all of this. What sort of tips do you have for a student? How did you even know it was the right time for you to pursue a graduate degree? And then once you kind of jump into it, was there anything that really worked for you to find that work school balance and then also, kind of have a life along with it too?
Yeah, absolutely. So I would strongly encourage, and you may hear this term a lot, but time management is very key. And although that may be very abstract and high level, some of the tips that I would really encourage everyone to use, if you ever have a calendar or if you have a planner of some sort, start to look at ways to block out time. I think this program, especially in how it's structured, taking one course at a time over 7 weeks, it really starts to help you build some of those habits and foundations for how to prioritize in your life. So when you start looking at your day and you're able to break out how much time you're going to commit to work, how much time you're going to commit to studying and for school, and then spending that extra time and looking at those different times that you can hang out with friends or go out or do things that are more from a personal nature, whether that's spend time with family. I would highly suggest looking at blocking out a schedule. Now, in addition to that, what you'll find is that for the academic side of it, note taking and listening is going to be very imperative. These are going to allow you to really exercise that learning curve where if you spend a lot of time up front doing the due diligence, putting in the work necessary, being ever present, it's going to allow you to really immerse and engage the material the way you need to. And when you do so, you're going to be able to build off of it. So what you'll see as time goes on is that as you're learning new concepts, you're not spending a lot of time trying to review or refresh some of the material you've already learned from either a previous week or from a previous course. You'll be able to build off of that. So as you're building off of that, it makes it a lot easier. And as the course goes on, I found more flexibility as the course went on. As I learned more, as I saw a lot of those fundamentals being applied to each course, I was able to break out a little more of my schedule, have a little more free time. I could go out with friends, but still do so in such a way that allowed me to get back to the program and do what I needed to complete it.
I love that. Thank you for sharing that too. That's a great perspective to have, and I think really encouraging for a lot of people. Another question that just kind of popped up, and I have seen this before, so this is a great question. But we have somebody say, "I have a bachelor's in biology, but gained an interest in finance and would love to become a prospective student for finance. Do you think I'll struggle jumping into a different career choice?" And I will say, I know I see students come in all the time with different backgrounds, but I would love to kind of hear from our panel, from your perspective, maybe even as faculty and seeing different students' backgrounds. Your thoughts on that?
But I would first of all point out that finance is a very open field. Everybody in finance comes from somewhere else. I mean, I came from engineering, right? So you may come from biology, as you say. And the fact is that it is a degree on top of other degrees. It is supposed to be with the domain knowledge of something. And the course is designed with that in mind. And the expectation is that you are new to finance. And then we, but at the same time, that doesn't mean that we will keep it elementary. There's a rapid learning curve, and there all the points Mark made about keeping a lot of time early on is very important, because it will be a lot of work. I mean, we are not ashamed of that. That's something you want, and we are happy to provide. And so we will get you there. You will start with a lot of interest, and you have that. You have the drive. So we got to use that drive and use that drive to move you forward into finance, and which we will do. With the knowledge will come, but all you need is drive to start, and then I think everything will work out. So, yeah.
I think that's well said. I would also like to add to try and help our students maybe feel a little bit more comfortable jumping in, who don't necessarily have a bachelor's degree. For example, in finance, we do have a student readiness orientation that we have all students complete. There is a math review section, so you get really excited from the get-go doing that. But we've gotten some really good feedback from students who maybe were a little bit more timid, and then once completing that, they have said that they felt a little bit more comfortable prior to jumping into finance 635. That's just kind of another thing to look forward to. Another question that I had, that I'm kind of interested to hear about, specifically from our faculty, is that we have seen a lot of changes and disruption in the finance industry over the past few years. So kind of knowing that, how does our Master's in Finance program keep up with industry trends and give students a strong foundation in order to be successful as this industry continues to evolve?
I can speak to that in particular. I teach this class called Alternative Investments, which is about these new things that are happening in the industry. The industry is moving away from basic stocks and bonds. And so the class is about advanced portfolio management, advanced securities. And recently also, when one of our faculty left, I took over this quant finance and market microstructure, one part of it. So we do half. Each class is half by each faculty. So it kind of keeps it exciting for the students. They meet 2 faculty per course. So in this one half, we talk about how trading happens and how trading patterns are changing. I even provide code to students. If they want, they can run it. And it's not to give people the opportunity to expand as far as they want, but also not force always. I mean, not everybody wants to be a coder, but I want to give them algorithmic trading code as well, so they can see how algorithmic trading is happening. So, and every other faculty member is doing the same thing. As I said, that we are researchers, so we are not just teachers. Our job is to keep up with finance as an industry and the economy as it moves forward. Our research evolves with it, and our teaching evolves with research. So this is the reason why, ultimately, why people want this connection between research and teaching. And so I am confident that all our faculty are constantly innovating. I know that. I'm not just confident. I know that they are constantly innovating to improve the material or change the material as the industry is changing. New examples, new cases, new topics keep entering the discussion every year, every time I teach, every time anybody else teaches. And I have seen a lot of excited faculty. They come to me and say, this is what we are. I'm adding to my material. What do you think? And then we have a debate, a discussion about that. We have coffee, and we go home happy. So that's what we do when we are not teaching in person.
I love that. Thank you. Mark, I'm curious for you, what sort of advice might you give to someone who is considering this particular finance degree? Maybe they're kind of on the fence about whether or not they feel like it's going to be worth the time and investment. I know you kind of talked about how you would slowly get through the class and then, oh, I can't go hang out with my friends again and whatnot. But kind of from your perspective, now that you are an alum, what would be your advice?
My advice is, first and foremost, that the amount of value that I received after finishing the program really is a testament to why anyone who's on the fence should go through it. This program is one where it has so many different transferable skills that you'll gain from it. As we were just explaining before, finance is such a broad and universal subject that whatever your background is going into this program and whatever your career aspirations are going after, you're always going to be able to leverage any financial information you've learned, not just in your professional life, but also in your personal life. I would strongly encourage anybody to go through it because it also has a level of rigor that I think anyone who is in a professional state who wants to advance to maybe potentially a C-suite or wants to look at entrepreneurship or getting into alternative investments, there's going to be an environment that you're in that's going to require maybe a level of work ethic that I really believe this program provides. In addition to that, while you're in the program, I will tell you, at first it may seem daunting. It may seem like it's a year and a half, but when you focus the way you're supposed to, and the way I believe everyone here on this call will, that time will pass. You will really go on a journey. These professors here do an excellent job. The way it's structured with the 7-week program, course by course, having 2 professors in some of the courses every 3.5 weeks or so, it really makes for a very good pace. And you learn so much. So especially for those who don't have a finance background, there's so much diversity. I mean, you can go from alternative investments to corporate finance to international finance to even the psychology of how finance works and the psychology of human behavior. So there's so many aspects that I would highly recommend this to anyone. And for those on the fence, I would say take the plunge. You're taking a risk, but you're taking a calculated risk. It's definitely has a huge ROI and will definitely be very beneficial for you in the future.
Thank you for that, Mark. And wait, I do see we have one more question, and this might actually be a really great segue, Layla, into your presentation as well. So I'll read off this question and I will let whichever faculty member would like to answer it, and then maybe we can jump into your presentation as well, Layla. But we had somebody ask, how is the coursework assessments administered, and graded?
I mean, I will defer to Professor Pinto Campello to discuss it. I will say it's graded essentially the same way as we do it in person classes nowadays. Also, because after, to be honest, after COVID, a lot of these gradings we submit to Blackboard and we grade exactly the same way. To be honest, but I defer to Professor Campello.
Yes, I'm sorry. I didn't know I was supposed to answer this question. Yes, hello everyone. Let me just answer this question first. Yes, the program is very similar to the on-campus program. So the way this works is you will have 7 weeks of classes, and you will be assessed through the 7 weeks. So some professors will give you quizzes as you go. Other professors will give you a project. So each of the courses is different in reality. But yes, you will be assessed. That's for sure, because we need to measure if you learned or not, and we want to help you as well gain knowledge. You know, we're human beings, so if we are not assessed, we will never study, right? We'll go through the 7 weeks, and in the end, okay, thank you, but you don't learn much. But if you're assessed, that pushes you into studying and asking questions, and it pushes you to the next level. So in terms of assessments, it depends on each professor. but they could be a range of quizzes, self-assessments, you could have projects, you could have exams. So yeah, in any way, they're not too many, but they're enough to test your knowledge, and they will be given to you gradually as you learn more and more. Yes. Okay. Did I answer? Oh, no.
I think that was great. And I think we can go ahead and pull up the next slide. And then if you would like to sort of dive in a little bit further with kind of your presentation and a bit more of the program information, that would be great.
Yes, thank you so much, Alison. By the way, I never saw anyone giving so much enthusiasm about the math training as you did before. I thought that was great when you talked about the math preparation. Anyway, hello, everyone. I'm not going to take too long. I know it's Wednesday evening. You probably are waiting to have dinner or you have family. So I'm just going to give you a few highlights about the program. Now, I'm the program director. I'm, as Dr. Chakraborty said before, I'm the program director for both the online and the on-campus. And we try to make them as close as possible, as similar as possible. Now, they're similar in the way it is the same award. So when you finish, you get an award that says Masters of Science in Finance, and it doesn't say it's online. Mark, correct me if I'm wrong, but
That's correct. Yes, that is correct.
This is very important, you know, because I think we all have this feeling like if it's online, it doesn't have the same level of complexity, or it's not as valued by the industry. That's not true. You will have the same professors, you will have the same courses, and you will have the same award. So when you finish, you go to look for jobs, or you go to your boss to get an upgrade, promotion, right? You can show you did a master's in finance. It doesn't say it's online. Now, same courses, same professors. What's different is the methodology, because we understand you are a different type of student. If you're looking for an online program, it is because you have other responsibilities. You may be more mature, you may have a family, a full-time job, or you may be too far from Miami and you just can't attend a live program or an on-campus program. So this program is very flexible and is targeting people like you and like me. For example, if I would like to do a master's right now, I will have to do something online that suits my life, my lifestyle. So very quick, the program is 32 credits. And one thing that I'm not sure if it's mentioned here, I don't think so. You can do this. We have certificates, and we have 2 certificates, one in financial decision making and one in corporate finance. Each of them is 16 credits. So, or whether you enroll in the MSF and you just do the whole program at once, or some people, what they do is they do one certificate that says 16 credits, let's say in corporate finance. And if you do the second certificate, then it would stack and they would build the MSF. So if you're not sure if you will have the time, or maybe you don't have the resources, you don't want to do the entire program right now, you can also choose to do one certificate. And then when you finish, jump into the other certificate or take a short break and then jump. And once you have the 2 certificates, each of them is 16 credits, you will have done the MSF. Without even noticing. So there are different ways to jump into this adventure if you don't want to go straight into the MSF. Now, the time to completion is 4 semesters. This is 16 months. And it's 8 courses in total. And you will have 1 course at a time. This is very convenient because it allows you to manage your time, right? Now, Mark works full time, probably has a family. He has other things to do. He likes to probably go out and travel, and you don't have to be running from work home and because there is a live class. So the content is pre-recorded, so that will allow you to watch the recordings and read the readings and work on your assignments when you have time within the time frame. Of course, it's not that you can say, no, I won't do it. I will do this in 6 months. No, it's 7 weeks and you have to do the things within the 7 weeks. But within that, there is flexibility on when you can actually go in and read the things, read your readings and the chapters and work on your content. Now, there is one meeting per week live with the professor where you will be able to ask questions and engage with the professor and other students. So every course is 4 credits and every course lasts 7 weeks, right? It's a lockstep coursework. That means you need to follow an order, and there is a reason for that. It's because knowledge builds. In finance, knowledge is cumulative. So you cannot do sophisticated things in finance like investments or portfolios if you don't know the basics of finance, like the time value of money or interest rates or how money works or how finance works. So every course has an order. You need to follow an order, but this is precisely for you to build knowledge gradually, right? So that when you have been 8 months in the program, you're ready to take more sophisticated courses. What else? We have 3 intakes per year. So we start in January, May, and September. And we're really quick. The admissions department is fantastic. You get an answer in 48 hours, and we have rolling admissions. So you can apply now for the next admission. We never close admissions. So you can apply when you're ready. Next, please. Now, this is my last slide. These are the courses that we have. And the first one, 635, the green one here, Quantitative and Analytical Fundamentals of Finance. This is, we also call this the boot camp, but don't worry, we're not going to ask you to run a marathon or anything like this. It is called the boot camp because it's quite intense, and it will be like a foundation of finance. So if you come from finance or economics, this is going to be a deep review of the topics you have seen already. If you're new to finance, this is going to be the course you need to catch up and be at the same level as the people that come from finance. So 635 is a mandatory course, and it will give you an introduction to finance, statistics, mathematics. And I'm not sure if we teach a bit of Python here. Dr. Chakraborty, correct me, please, if I'm wrong. Do we teach Python in this course?
No, I think we provide these things, this code, but we do not force coding in these classes anymore. So,
okay. So that you have, you can see the following courses. You have here 613, Intermediate Corporate Finance and Investments, then 614. So you can see, as it has been mentioned before, finance is very broad. So you want to get training in the different areas. You want to get training in corporate finance, in investments, in modeling, in derivatives, in the microstructure of finance, portfolio management, because life changes. Maybe you're now working as a portfolio manager. You want to go to a different side of finance. Maybe you want to work in corporate finance, or maybe you want to be, you do finance now, but you don't know much about modeling, and you want to apply to an investment bank or just apply for promotion within your own business, your own job. So these courses, if you read the descriptions, if they will prepare you for the different destinations we have in finance. Here you have corporate finance, investments, valuation, statement analysis, very important. I come from another university. I joined almost 2 years ago. But before I led a master's in finance that taught the students how to do a Black-Scholes model to value options, to price options, but they didn't know how to find a cash flow, in how to build the cash flow from the statements. So you really need to know financial statements to do well in finance. You don't need to be an accountant, but you need to have basic financial statement knowledge for that. That will build into financial modeling and pricing. So just to wrap up, if you look at these courses, they will prepare you for basically any destination you want in your career. Whether you're new to finance and you want to work in a bank, or in a private equity fund, or in fintech, or whether you're already in finance and you want to move up in your career. The program is pretty quantitative, so you're going to have a lot of math and statistics, but the knowledge will be gradual, precisely because we don't have a requirement of students coming from finance, so anyone can do this program. Dr. Chakraborty comes from engineering. I come from business administration myself, but many of our students come from degrees that have nothing to do with finance. So as we introduce mathematics, statistics, and key finance concepts, we make sure it is gradual so that everyone moves at the same pace and you build knowledge as you go. And I think the one thing which is important is that these are all core courses. We don't have any electives in this program, but the core courses you have here are the core and the elective in the in-person program. So they're the same courses. The difference is that in the in-person program, some students can choose it as an elective. In your case, you cannot choose it, but in the end, both of you, whether it is an online program or on-campus program, will be studying the same courses and obtaining the same skills and knowledge. And last, very, very last, this is only the academic part, but there is much more to UM than this. The professors, the networking, the events. You can come to campus anytime if you live close to Miami, or if not, you can just organize something with your friends and come for a weekend to Miami and come to campus and meet us, right? All of us are on campus all the time. We can just organize a meal, a coffee, a tour through campus. Then you will be part of alumni and you will have this network. It's more than 180,000 alumni you will be part of. You can network with these people, contact them, ask questions. So it's not only the academics, it's also everything that goes with it. The culture, the networking, the events, being part of a community that is going to go with you for life. That's it. Any questions?
We actually have had 2 more questions come in, and I think this would be great for our panel to answer. So this one just came through. Does this program go into real estate at all?
Should I answer this, or
Yeah,
Dr.
that would be
Chagall?
great. Yeah.
In the courses, we do not go into real estate, but we do have courses in real estate. So this is something we have explored in the past. Some of our students in the MSF Online were willing to take some courses in real estate. So we have, this is an easy thing to do. If you would like to take a course in real estate, and you are in Miami, because most of these courses are on campus, we could arrange that you take one of those courses, yes. The problem is we don't offer those courses online. So if you're far away from Miami, it will be difficult. But on campus, yes, we do have a lot of, we have an MBA specialized in real estate. So we have a full portfolio of real estate courses that our finance students can take, yes.
Thank you. And then the last one, does the master's in finance differentiate from a bachelor's, or excuse me, how does it differentiate from a bachelor's in finance, and how does it leverage a bachelor's in finance?
It's the next step. It's a higher level of the bachelor's in finance. Is if you come from a bachelor's in finance, you probably have seen the intro level of finance, like what's what we teach at UM in undergrad courses, like we call 302, 303, like from the time value of money all the way to perpetuities, annuities, all that. Probably you know all this, probably you have done some valuation, you have done some portfolio management. This is another level. This would build to that. So maybe the first 2 courses are like a refresher for you if you have done finance, but we quickly built up the level. So it will build on additional knowledge. Like even if you have seen portfolio management, you will learn new things here, new techniques, new models. If you have seen financial modeling, you will learn how to do this here at the next level, using VBA, using other modeling techniques. So I would say it builds into finance. So in terms of the course structure, maybe 635 would be very basic for you if you come from a bachelor's in finance, because it's a refresher, but the rest of the courses, I'm sure they will add value to your program. Yes.
Great. Well said. Well, panel, thank you so much. This was so helpful. I enjoyed it, that's for sure. And I don't have a background in finance, so thank y'all so much. This was great. I do have a few more little housekeeping items to kind of discuss. And we've talked about this a little bit already, but we do have a big deadline coming up. Our early admissions deadline is going to be this Monday, March 13th. So definitely, we kind of talked about potentially being on the fence. If that's something that you're doing, feel free to go ahead and fill out that application. It is free to apply. And then as a big thank you for joining us, we're actually going to extend to all of our attendees a $300 deposit fee waiver. So just for being a part of this session, we want to extend that to you. So everyone loves $300 extra dollars, right? So thank you for being with us. Again, Monday is going to be our big early decision deadline. So we definitely want you to begin starting that application process. We actually have a QR code here at the bottom, so you can utilize that to start your application. Again, I mentioned this at the beginning, but we have an incredible enrollment team who would love to answer any additional questions that perhaps you have. Maybe you wanted to know a little bit more about financial aid or scholarship opportunities, or just sort of what the application even looks like. our team would love to go over that with you. So we have all of that contact information listed there and would be happy to answer those questions. So once more, panel, thank you so much. For all of our prospective students, thank you for joining us, and we all hope you have a great evening.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.